This is Florida Natural Farming at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. And I'm just getting ready to go out and look at some tropical fruit trees and stuff, but I was in here looking at my rare air rides. It's looking quite nice considering we're right in the middle of a huge drought and we don't water. So I was thinking about fungi and its role in natural systems in Florida and everywhere else. And I know that it's highly important. In fact, it made me question whether we should be focusing on soil health or if it should be called fungal health. So we grow everything. I make this biodynamic compost here. It's a very fungally dominant compost made with aged wood chips, pine shavings, and urine and cow manure and bits of hay, all organically approved. And I put a biodynamic horn in here. So this is a cow horn that's I shove with cow manure, fresh cow manure, cow dung, and then bury for 6 months in the ground underneath a large live oak, ancient live oak tree we have here, and then dig it up. And it's like a super fungi inoculum. And it works at preventing standing water issues, and it survives in this horn in our rain barrels for over a year. It like floats to the bottom and then floats to the top, so I know it's like some animal in there or a living thing inside the horn. And it's fungi. I can see the fungi. I've seen the fungi. I've done videos of it. And it just really makes me question everything about what we understand about what's going on with the plants in our soils. Fungi is responsible for delivering nutrients, and those are in the form of life, bacteria, and other enzymes to plants, root zones. And they control the water and the heat and the air. So these biodynamic horns, I made 90 of these, and they have been in here for since the spring equinox, and that's when I dug them up. And the temperature inside here, when it's hot out, stays 10 degrees cooler. Then the air out around it. Because they can hold so much water. They stay moist in there even though there's no water being given to them. And I'm fairly certain that they are able to deliver water to regions of soil that need it. But we've destroyed them all. We've destroyed all the fungi in Florida. We don't even look at the fungi in Florida. We've turned, because fungi are amazing, they recruit ants to do their work for them. So excavate soils. And kind of what the chemical companies have turned people into. They're like going and getting these nutrients and delivering it to the plants. And it makes your plant sick. And then killing all the ants, killing all the bacteria, and killing all the fungi. Just amazing, the takeover and control of humans. Whereas for probably thousands of years, we knew to get manures from the animals and put it with our vegetables, and to honor all life. In just a matter of like 70 years, we've completely taken over the majority of everyone's mind and tell them how to grow their plants. When in actuality, you're destroying life, you're destroying your plant's health, and you're destroying your own personal environment by the use of these chemicals. That's what's going on. And then we haven't even looked at the fungi in Florida soils, and I know I'm fairly certain that is why a lot of our trees don't freeze when it's 31 degrees. And why plants that are grown from seed, that are inoculated from seed with a fungally rich, like compost we make, our organic compost, and inoculate the seeds and then plant them. And those trees never suffer drought damage. They don't suffer disease damage. They don't just suffer pest damage. And they don't need any watering here in Florida. This tamarilla tree is like, I'm gonna be tasting some tamarillo soon. It's been so windy, I thought for sure that this tree, and it's dry, so this tree does not get watered. And it's doing just fine. The mangoes are doing fine also. So when you inoculate seeds correctly from the onset, so if the nursery growers would inoculate their seeds that they're growing their plants, they're grafting their plants on, and grow them organically, taking fungi into consideration while they're doing this, not just the NPK dated form of looking at growing plants, a nutrient balancing scheme. Look at the fungi, the fungal conditions that you're building in your soils, in your compost, in your mixes. And stop being programmed by the man and the fertilizers, because it's 100% unnecessary, and you're destroying your plants and you're destroying everyone's health in the process by using those chemicals. People seem to want me to talk about stuff like this, so I don't know. It's partly science fiction and partly plant and soil health, but you can't deny that it works. Nobody can. I mean, y'all have small yards, a lot of you. I understand that. But this is my yard. And I did a pretty good job filling it full of invasive species. All these tropical fruit trees. Thousands of tropical fruit trees. And I'm in the process of transforming the orchard floor into a healthier environment for fungi. And the plants that do that are the waxy leaf plants, like the heliconias and the gingers, plumerias, cacti. The aroids. Yes, the aroids. Plants high in calcium oxalate. All these waxy leaf trees. These indigenous, this is a chachiro, indigenous trees from Central and South America. They're waxy leafed, thick leafed plants that do well in fungally dominant soils. And then the grasses, all this grass weeds that everyone hates. Grass favor fungi. So this is what I've been trying to focus on is the fungi. It's the fungi. That's what it's about. It's not about the soil health. It's about the fungi. Creating the conditions to have a fungal soil. Everything else will get in order. They try to do soil health in these like agro nutrient balancing farm systems. That's a start, but if you're driving on it, you're not a fungally dominant soil. You can't really squish the fungi down. They need to keep the water in their structures. And if you're walking all over them and driving all over them and using fertilizers, large amounts of NPK, or creating the conditions, like too much raw chicken manure or too much, you got to pay attention to how much nitrogen and nutrients are in the manure you use and how much you're applying. Our agriculture systems are so screwed up with how we grow meat and how meat is the number one nutrient. It's like, oh my God. We brainwashed everyone, pretty much, is what's happened, to sell products. If you're buying chemicals, you're no better than an ant to the man to pollute the planet. That's all that is. When I was a small child, I knew that cow manure was what you used to grow plants. I was like 5. It's a long time ago. You can't use, they poisoned the cow manure now, so you can't use cow manure. You can't even use horse manure. It's probably worse because they spray fly sprays, multiple different types of fly sprays, and they worm their horses and use antibiotics. Those are all pesticides. It's just a really sorry state of stupidity we've found ourselves in, but I know that I know that there's people out there that are concerned also. Otherwise, I wouldn't have people watching my channel and growing the channel. So, we've got to look at what we're doing and who we're doing it for. And if you're using fertilizers, which are totally unnecessary in Florida, then you're working for big oil. You're an ant for big oil. Kill the ants, kill the fungi, and buy our chemicals that'll eventually kill you. I constantly think about all these cities in Florida that are all on septics. Thousands, hundreds, tens of thousands of houses, hundreds probably, thousands of houses, close together, all on septics, on calcareous rock. Using all their chemicals indiscriminately. Their pesticides, their fungicides, their chemical fertilizers, their house cleaners, all going into a small area. Just in nitrogen, it works out to about 80 pounds per acre. So 80 pounds probably per block of nitrogen you're applying per year just in your crap in your septics. But then when you mix all these other pesticides and pollutants and antibiotics and medicines together, and you wind up with a PFAS problem, the forever chemicals. And then they build all these houses like in Sebastian here in Indian River County. They're all on septics. There's a lot of them. There's like 30,000 people in Sebastian, I think, or maybe it's 20,000. I don't know. There's a lot. There's more and more every day. They put them on septic and then they give them a shallow well and tell them to use it for your landscaping. But they provide them clean water. If all your neighbors are watering their lawns with this water, it's all floating through the air and you're breathing it in. There's no other way around it. When it rains, it probably creates a PFAS atmosphere outside. They don't look at PFASs. Probably all these cities are Superfund, future Superfund sites that they're doing this in. They would have to be. It's also depressing. People are just, they become bots for oil companies. Distract them with transgender or black people or stuff like that. I mean, I haven't heard any solutions to fix the Indian River Lagoon where all the manatees are dying. None. It was a short news clip. Sure, there's probably a few people involved in it, but there's no solutions. There's no talk of fungi in the soil. The fungi are going to be the only thing that is going to help your plant keep from uptaking PFASs and other poisons that wind up in the food. They can filter the water, which is where the nutrients come from. I mean, it's just bizarre to think that people think that they know how to grow plants when the information's out there now that shows that using the chemicals is destroying the planet and destroying your plant's health. They continue to push them. The schools continue to teach it. The people ignore the fungi. This is about fungal rich soil. Fungal health. It's not discussed. I don't know. I think I'm just too ahead of myself. And what I think about and how to grow. People aren't even amazed that I dry farm cacao here and fruit it. It's just, they're more amazed by Suriname cherry, which are nasty little cherries that get fruit flies in them. They're okay, but I wouldn't plant one here. I know that. The birds like them, but they're just not a good cherry. I don't like them. But that's my personal choice. But I don't know. Cacao kind of was like a... They when I moved here, they told you couldn't grow it out. Told me I couldn't grow it outside here. I don't know. It's just... They try to, rebrand me as a quack. And, not possible. The agronomist. That's not possible. So low functioning, all of us. We've become so low functioning thanks to the chemicals we're consuming, insecticides you eat, mass amounts of people with very little brain power purchasing products for a couple of people to destroy any hope of creating Eden on Earth. I mean, wasn't Eden on Earth? We did not get there with your freaking chemicals and bug sprays and fungicides. It's a complete takeover of people's minds is what it is. Scary. Oh. I don't know, I think about some weird stuff. I'm glad I'm able to share a little bit of how I feel about growing and show people just how easy it is to grow here in Florida, and how you don't have to even, this is a koi muck from our fruit. Dry farmed, of course. It's got a jackfruit next to it that lost its leaves, but it's trying to come back. It's a little citrus. Citrus is this easy in Florida. Seed-grown citrus, planted during the drought, no water ever, just growing in the weeds. The weeds will smother a plant, a small plant, but trees generally pop up above them. Thick grass especially will damage a young plant. I see my sugar cane is starting to come up that I planted. Hopefully it will survive. I wish we'd get some rain. I'm getting tiny little bits of rain. Tiny little bits of rain here and there. Yeah, I wish I had inherited or bought an old grove and was into selling people mangoes and stuff, but I'm more into like figuring out why and trying to help make Florida better. It's not very popular, but that's kind of what I'm into. And trying to make people see that their choices have consequences. And they don't need to be ants for the chemical and petro oil companies. We need the ants. Stop killing them, please. Say no to all those poisons and stuff, those insecticides that make people stupid. We're already there. I mean, manure, the caveman figured it out and evolved, but very little evolving going on anymore. We seem to be in a de-evolution phase. But hopefully it'll get better before it gets worse. I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better, though, unfortunately. Just too much money involved in marketing and manipulation of people. And nature has no backing, so people just destroy it. Anyway, this is Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. Hope you have a good day.